Today is an exciting day because I'm buckling down and getting back to my landscapes. You know, it's really easy to do something artistic when you're really in the mood. Sometimes that artistic feeling will just grab you and sweep you along with it. But what I have learned with landscapes, especially the way I do them, sometimes you just have to sit down and just make one start. It's like I was taught by a very wise woman that when you're faced with something that kind of stops you, kind of makes you want to back off, to just do one thing. Just step forward and say, I'll just do a little bit of the sky. And the reason that's such a good tip, because by the time you get everything out, you set it up and you do one bit of the sky, it'll draw you in. And before you know it, you're so involved that you've forgotten that you felt frozen at first. So don't wait, don't just create when you get all excited and that energy moves you. Just develop a pattern of sitting down and saying, I'm just going to do one thing. And before you know it, you'll be sucked in. So I have been working now for about a half an hour because what I wanted to do, since I wasn't feeling it at first, but I knew I had been promising you this, I just kind of wanted to cut some things out and make some changes without being on the camera. So now I've gone ahead a little bit without you, but don't worry, I'll tell you what I've done. And let's get busy and let's get this beach landscape going, especially because summer's coming. Hopefully you can see, and I've got this version of this and also the computer version. So the computer version is a little bit more vibrant because, you know, printers have a hard time matching actual photographs, home printers anyway. So as you can see, I've been busy. And when I do this, I give myself the luxury of having a mess because I have to lay this all out so I can see what I'm doing. So I said, I'm going to go back to the basics today because I started looking down here and got a little overwhelmed. I said, no, let's go back to the top because that's what Judy Lilly taught me, a very talented painter. She always works from the top down. And I have skipped around on this when I've done it during our live stream. But today when I felt a little nervous, a little tense, I just said, relax, start at the top, and let's work our way down. So I'm trying to get an idea of all of these clouds. And I'm using the photo that I showed you a moment ago because it's a little more dramatic. And that tends to be how I work anyway, so why not work with something that I like? So, what I have done since the last time I saw you, I pulled out my fabrics, and I want to show you something. I am dealing with a lot of real pale yellows, and I don't have that many yellows, so what I did is I just flipped the fabric over. And honestly, I'm sitting here, I want to work. I don't want to get up and go look for fabric. So I just turned this to the opposite side. And see, all of a sudden now I have my pale yellow. So I do that often. This is a collage landscape. I don't find the perfect fabric that does the whole thing for me. I like to create. I like my hands involved a little more. So I'm willing to cut reasonably small pieces. And they're not as small. I mean, I could get really tiny and fine, but that's too fiddly. When it comes to the really tiny details, I will use thread painting or Inktense pencils to get that kind of tiny detail. But this is collage, so I kind of cut things up. If I don't like it, I move them out of the way. If I want more, I do that. So now, what you've seen me do, let's see if I can get in a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm working on this section right here of this beach quilt. Oh, and the first thing I did when I laid it back out to kind of reacquaint myself, because yes, I drew it, and yes, I have the pictures, but I pulled that golden threads paper. I pulled it back over the quilt to look at my registration points and just make sure I'm still on track. Then I move it back out of the way. I put this right here and I'm ready to go. Alright, so I'll turn this so you can see it. So what I've been doing is I realized I had this base for the sky, but I realized that I needed a big expanse of dark for the dark clouds, okay? So I put some dark in here. And what I've been doing, and then I wanted a little lighter for down in here. And what I've been doing is just cutting shapes from the different color fabrics I have and putting them in. And I'm going to, I love the way the clouds are fuzzy where the colors, the light and dark touch. And that's nearly impossible to do with fabric, but that's where the thread painting, I'll use the threads to kind of soften the clouds. So don't worry if this looks too sharp right now. What I want to do is I like what I've got going up here. I think it's doing a good job creating the color striations. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And remember, I just use a good school glue and take and put just a little bit on there. And glue these down. And I took a piece of this and just did squiggles. You know, you can just take the colors and do squiggles and use them where you think they fit. It doesn't, and remember, this is not a copy. This is not a copy of this photograph. It is my version as I see it. And I don't always follow perfect rules. So, and see, this gives it a little shading where it goes from very bright to then in between and then before the dark. So I just kind of lay it in there. I'm going to go ahead and glue in this piece. Lay that down. Then I'm going to get my iron, come over. I like how the iron helps to dry the glue and helps me keep straight what part I've done where. So I think this is working. Now let me go ahead and put a little drop there to hold this down better. And don't worry, you will either go over this with a piece of tulle at near the end to make sure you've got it in place. Let me go ahead and, since the skinny pieces, I just put a little glue on the back of them. And then that way, because it's hard to put the glue on the background and then hope that you've got it in the right place. So something like this I'll just take and put just little touches. Because remember, you have to sew through this, so don't put too much. Don't put too much glue on it. Alright, so I'm just going to finish gluing these down. But I just take my scissors and I look at what I see on the photo. And it's not perfect. Some of my light areas are longer. Like this, see this? Mine is a little longer, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it's my version. And I liked it and I just kept it going. So now let me put a little glue on the back of this. And if this is too fiddly for you, then you can always make it just the way you like it. For me, I want to put as many different fabrics in to show the various layers that I can. So, let's see. But I just realized I couldn't just do the dark background and then all of a sudden put some light fabric on top because I needed a little more transition. So that's what that is. Okay, now put this down just a little more. Let me put some more of these here. All right, I'm going to touch it again with the iron. All right, let me hold this up and let you see. Let's see what this looks like. Is it looking a little bit like a cloudy sky, an encroaching darkness? All right, now I need these along here. Okay. So what I do is I use the big pieces for most of the color, where most of the color comes in. And then I use small little snippets for just the smaller kind of striations of the sky. All right, so I'm thinking, I lift it up every once in a while and look, and don't worry, at this point, if it's too glaring and it's not soft enough, don't worry, because you will come in with thread painting. Now I built some more of the brown in here with this fabric. Then I needed a very faded piece, so again I used the back, because you can see how intense this is and how pale the back is. So I use this to put this here. And now I've got some more of this. Trying to figure out where. I think I need another piece of this. This is a bridge between the dark and the light. So this is bridge. I'll call this my bridge fabric. And I just come and do little strips, and remember, don't have any sharp edges, but I do little strips. Oh, that would go good there. Here we go. All right, so what do you think? Is that coming along? So I'm just going to keep working. Now I noticed in the thing that I have this patch of sky here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, because this will at least block in this part. And it comes right. I guess it comes right like this. And I think I'm going to cut this away. Okay, now I find too, when I use the glue on the fabric, I don't put the glue near the edge usually, because sometimes I want to lift up and tuck something in behind. But this is the darkest point of my sky, and this will be just slightly lighter. And I came back in and did some of the dark underbelly of the clouds, because as you see, it's not just a straight line. The clouds are more wispy than that. So, let's see. I'll save this for now, and I'll just stack up my little pieces over here. Oh, I know what I wanted to go in with. I noticed in the photo that it went from this dark to a lighter piece under here. So, I'm going to see, I picked out a piece of batik that has yellows and purples in it, and I thought this would go really good here. So let me just cut that, And trying to decide how I want it to. Okay. I'm pulling up this blue. This is kind of my horizon. So I'm pulling that up. Well, and this is, pardon me, this is not my horizon. This is the horizon down here. This is that dark line of clouds. And so this is a bit of sky. Then that's the dark line of clouds. So I lifted it up to put it under that sharp line. And then I think I'm going to lift up underneath of it and tuck it under there too. And if it's glued down too hard and it's hard to pull up, then just trim your fabric to a smaller piece. Tuck it up under there. All right. Let's see. All right. Now what I'm going to do, and it truly is like playing with paper dolls or playing with construction paper and creating your own little world, because this is entirely what you want to make it. That's the best part about landscape quilting. There are no rules and you're the boss. So I like that very much. All right, so see how I'm adding just that little bit of complexity. And don't feel like you have to do this. You can do whatever you wish. But I feel like the closer I get to what I see and what I like on there, then the better it will look. And honestly, I don't want to I'd rather do this. I'd rather do most of the color work and the blocking work with fabric and do less of the thread painting. It uses a lot of thread, and this is cheaper. So it's cheaper and it's fun. It's fun for me to do this. So, all right, I'll glue this piece down right here. Now I need a little bit of a transition from that brownish. So I'll come back over to this brown fabric. And if I turn it over, okay, I'll have to cut from an area right here. I want some brown, but I want it lighter. So I'll just cut a little snippet. Come in here. This is good. All right. Get some of these little edges off. Get this off. Let me see. I might put this on top. All right. Thank you for sticking with me on working on these landscapes. I realize now that that's really what you want to see. So I'm going to make sure I love doing them. I just have to get my mind in the right place. I'm sure you can understand what I mean. And but then once I get into that zone, I really do love it. So, all right. So for now, there's other little tiny wisps coming down from the clouds. I don't know if you can barely see them. I think that's too fussy. I think at this point, what I'm going to do, just keep blocking color in and keep on working my way down. So I don't want to get so fussy that it just turns it into a mess. So let's see. Oh, that's a pretty good color too. I'm looking for the right color to do a transition, which is right around in here. And no, I don't want it too blue, because if anything, it's a little more yellowy. And you know what? Every time I need something that is tan but a little yellowy, I come back to the muslin. I tell you what, this muslin's great. I did not think when I started this quilt that I was going to end up using this muslin. I think of it only as, oh, junk fabric for the base. But you know what? It's wonderful. So I'm going to pull this up a little, tuck it under, And that's just, you look at it and you see this is a hard line, so it's easier to tuck this under that dark line. All right, then let me see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this just slightly wavy. It doesn't look right if you have it too straight. And since the piece, you know, the other piece, I don't want to tuck it under there because the other piece is not really cut curvy. So since this is the newest piece to go on, and it's just a slight curviness, okay? Just a slight. But that just looks better to your eye because, like I said, there's nothing straight in nature. And even a tree, people think, oh, trees are straight. No, they're not. If you've ever looked at a tree, they have bends and twists and leans, and it's amazing. Okay, so now I cut this. See this bottom edge? This straight edge is going to tuck under, but this bottom edge will show. So I'll just come tuck it right up under here. And I'm going to trail it off a little bit. Okay. So you see I just kind of cut this at a gentle angle so that I can tuck it in and it doesn't look too odd. Now I'm going to put my little touches of glue. Put it down. Put touches of glue under this since I pulled it up. I'll come in with my iron. All right. This is going pretty good. Now, in this, if you could, I'm not going to keep turning the camera around to show you, but there is a bright streak of white coming through here. There's no way I'm going to do a tiny little thing. That'll be done with thread painting. All right. Because, I mean, I could take a little tiny piece like this. No. I will not do that. And try to decide, okay, some of these little pieces, throw them in the trash. Keep your area clean, reasonably clean, just so you can concentrate on what you're doing. I also added a little piece of bright white here I had used, and that's for this most intense part, because I had used muslin, but I still needed that little brightness. So, anyway, and don't worry, like some of these edges aren't smooth. They're kind of, you know, all of that gets smoothed out with thread painting. So right now, remember I said you're blocking things in. That's all you're doing. And that's enough for right now. You do this in stages. And also, don't forget, it's like when you were a 12 or 13-year-old child. It will go through an awkward part where you think, oh no, what have I done? Trust me, it's okay. I promised. Okay. All right, now I need another. I need something more white for down here where it's yellow. And I'm thinking this might be good because it's a little, you can't tell, but it's a little modelly. So I think this would work really well for right down here. So I'm just going to look at this and just kind of cut and approximate the shape I see there because I like it. It looks pretty. All right. So now I've got that. Okay. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that good. And I'm going to come down here now. I'm going to lift these up, these two sections, and I'm going to place this. It comes right off of this gray. There is a bit of a gray cloud down here with a little orange underneath, and I'm going to take this one and put it right here. Just a couple little glue spots, because I just noticed when I pulled this back, they've been glued down so many times, they're getting a little stiff. Now, I'm not going to worry about that. Let me tell you why. Because I can, if I were to go get a wash rag with warm water, I could rub it against the fabric and it would take the extra glue off so easily. So do not worry about that right now. It might start looking all, you know, clenched up. That's okay. So this is looking a lot better. Now I think I'll go back up here. I've blocked out a few of these big things that I needed to do. Ooh, I can see I'm going to block these out too. These little patches of sunlight that are coming through. Now, this one is pretty white and it doesn't have much yellow. So I'm going to go back to my muslin. And since this is going to be the bottom layer, I can just cut a big piece of fabric like this and put it, just glue it down over here for now. So, it's too big. Well, let me cut it down just a touch. And it's okay that it's too big. You just, I want to keep the number of layers down to a little bit of a minimum. But you want it big enough that the edges will all be hidden with the darker colors. So I'm going to come in here and come right here. Because you can see this, which I've got right here. And what I'm doing right now is this and this. So it's going to come a little close. Alright. So, here we come with this, which comes right down to here. Alright. So you see how I've got this blocked. This is blocked. This is pretty done except for fiddly stuff that I'll do with thread painting and my ink tints. I can't wait. Ink tints is gonna be, I hope you know what those are. If not, go look on Amazon. You want the ink tints fabric pencils and color blocks. Either or both, whatever. But they're wonderful because it comes like a colored pencil, and then the moment you put fabric medium, I don't use water. You can use water, but that would give it a very watercolor effect. You want to use medium, so that gel medium that you can get pretty inexpensively, and that way you'll get this burst of color. So places where there's this yellowish hue, oh my gosh, I can do that through ink tints. So I'm very excited about that. Alright, now I've got those two blocked out. There'll be another one I block out up here. I guess I can go ahead and do that. This is background, so I love doing this because it's something big that you're doing, and then it's done. So I'm going to now, this will go up here. It's too big, so let me cut it down. You want it bigger than you see on, the thing, because you need that so that when you add the other colors, you won't have any edges showing. You want to be able to cover that up. Alright, like I had a problem in here where this piece was a little short. You don't want that. So if it had been longer, everything would be covered up. You wouldn't notice. Alright, so now I need to do this area of sky. I've done this. You see the little dark swirls, and I've got dark swirls. Now it's lighter still a little bit right here with some dark behind. Why don't we do the dark, the underneath dark that we'll let peek out now? So let's see. So there's a little bit of this. And this for one of them. Okay. So if I put this here, that'll be this little peeking of dark. So I've got these. This will do that. And then a bigger, I think if I put it right here, then All right, so let me put these in, and don't worry, they're not perfect. They're not even in the right shape because they're going to be I'm going to put the shape pieces on top of these, okay? So there. Now move all my little bits out of the way. Okay, because you know, otherwise you can't see what you're doing. Let's see. Ooh, this would be good to add a little, or should I go ahead with, where is it? I want this color right here. Here it is. What I normally do is, so I don't have big pieces of fabric, is I'll tear off a piece and then I can cut from that. And then I can put the big piece back over there. So I think what I'll do here, I love this because see how it has so much modeling in it right there itself. So I'm going to have a straight piece that comes out. Well, this kind of does that. All right. All right. Now, if you look at this fabric, you will notice that it doesn't, it's got dots on it, and the sky doesn't have dots on it. But people know when you're doing a quilt like this, I think it's a benefit to have fabric like this because it reminds the people that they're not looking at a photograph, that they're looking at a recreation. I'm going to tuck this piece just under here a little. These are just a different shade. But it reminds people when they see a pattern that, oh, this is fabric, that's right. And I think that's part of the beauty of it. I mean, if you wanted it to look like a photograph, then take a photograph. But I think it's good for people to see that, be reminded, ah, that's right, this is fabric. So, then there's a light area up here. I think this is too light. So I will go back to, what have I been, I think I was I using this? I have to go back and try to figure out what I've used. No, I think it was this. Yes, it was this. All right. So I've got this in here. And then right here, I think this would be good. And it's kind of a in-between. And I'm going to just cut this piece now. Put that aside. And then this is going to be trickier for me to cut. So I have got to pay a little more attention. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting it right along here. And this is where, since this part's going to show, this is going to have the curve. Okay. All right. No, 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 no. It's almost a straight line. I'm still putting a little curve in it though. Okay. Started to pull up these pieces, but I don't want to tuck it under. So now it's going to go right here. Let me see. Now, that is good. what I need to do, come back here and get another piece of medium and run this medium right along here. I needed just another piece of medium. I'll cut the top. This is going to go right here. Cut the top so it works. Kind of relaxing when you stop and think about it. And remember, you can't make a mistake, because if you don't like something you put down, guess what? You just pull it back off. I mean, not many things in life do you get such good do-overs. All right. And I'm going to keep these landscapes coming one after another, because there are beach landscapes, then there are mountain landscapes, and they all have their own little, secret thing. And I figured if we just keep working on them, then just the more we can learn together. So, all right, let's see. How is this looking? I love bringing in the iron because I want everything to lay flat so I can see if I'm getting the look that I want. So that's important. Okay, so one little thing. Alright, I didn't like the way this ended at the dark, so I'm just going to put a little contrast down here. Oops, let me make sure I've got glue down. Alright. Alright. So this is getting a little busy. So what I'm probably going to do is leave this for now. And don't forget, part of the important part of this is after I've done a section and I think I like it, is to hold it upright, because it looks totally different laying down versus upright. And in fact, if I wasn't doing a video, I would be leaning it up more often. So let's see here. I've got this section, but I think I've got too much dark. I think I need to bring that back down. Do you see where? Okay, this, I understand that. Yeah, this needs to come down. So, and you know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to cut some of this dark out from behind it, because the fabric I'm using, it is not thick enough. It's so light, I'm afraid some of this dark is going to show through. So now I've trimmed that down. Alright. Now I come and put this. Alright, and I'm going to want a little bit more of medium. I've got to fill in some area, so I'm going to come in here and put this. Oh, that looks good. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. And now I can come back with this. And you see how I've got the dark, and then this kind of pokes in. Let me smooth this edge out a little here. All right. Now, now I'm putting this here. All right. I think that's pretty good. Now I gotta figure out what to do. Okay. And I think I'm going to put a little bridge fabric right here. Not much, just a little snippet. All right. All right. All right, let's see. Got this down here. Got the browns. These browns are coming out too far, I think. Yep. Oh, I see what it is. It's up here. Okay. I need to come. I think I actually need to bring this piece back here. So I'm going to move this. Luckily, it's pretty easy to do. But all of a sudden I looked at this and thought, something's not right. So I'm going to bring this back. All right. Now some people might say, don't do the collage quilting too small. And maybe I will look at this and say, it's too small, too much going on. Well, if I do, then I'll change it. But I'm certainly not going to, I'm not going to even worry about it at this stage. Because I'm having fun. And that's the way it should be. None of this, you know, this is not like having to have your taxes done by April 15th. Oh yeah, I have to have my taxes done by April 15th. But this is the fun part, guys. This is the fun part. Okay. Okay. Now, oops. Yeah, this is, okay, I see what I'm doing. Alright, so I need something a little darker to go along. This might be good. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. It's a little darker than, this. At least the way that's showing up on that. But let's try this and see. I do have this. Okay, so now I have cut this slightly darker piece. And I'm going to have it go right down over top this other one. But I'm going to cut out a little bit of a peekaboo place for the other part to come out. Now I need to cut an irregular line along the bottom. Okay, so now this will come onto here. And I like how, you see how it kind of, I'm going to cut more. There's a little peekaboo hole right there that I kind of want to emulate. So I'll come like this. I think that'll be fun. Just gives it a little more realism. That's what we're aiming for. And you know, I was just noticing that if the muslin, it shows through some of the orange, or the yellow and orange, which gives it that look. I'm loving this. I am loving this. Alright, so this is here. Now I need muslin to go around the edges of this. So let me get some more of that, because to me, that's where the muslin needs to come in. So, let's see. Alright. So what I'm going to do is come in. Alright. This I'm going to stick behind that orange. Okay. I'll lift this up. Put this in. Lift these up. Okay, then come up here, put it underneath here. Alright, so you can see now how we put this in. Actually, I should have put it underneath here too. So I'm going to come add another piece. This is not a problem. You know, there's a wonderful member of our Time to Quilt group, and she's a lovely, lovely, lovely woman, and she was talking about that she didn't feel like that she was that talented of a quilter, but that she was fearless. And you know what? I think that's an answer to a lot of things in life, because you don't know if you can do something until you try. Just get out there and give it a shot and try. What's the worst that can happen, you know? And that's how inventions come along. That's the real mover and shaker in life. And so anything you want to do, just do it. It's easy. It is easy. Alright, so now gotta get under. But you know, you might get into it and say, I hate this. Then there you go. Now you know. I've always been a person who never wanted to come to the end of my life and say, I wish I had. Because too late then. So I feel like that this is the time to do it, and you'd be surprised what you can do if you just try. And I do think that having a certain amount of bravado can really get you a lot of places in this world. Alright. Because remember, everybody else is just as scared and shy as you are. So alright. Now this goes right here. Now see, this is better because I have some background here that will give me, that muslin is perfect for that. So I'm going to come along here, put this here. I've got my peekaboo for this part. And I'll just move it this way just a bit. Okay. I'm going to, oops, hold on a second. Yeah, it goes down this way. Alright. Some of these batiks, you can't tell what's the front or the back. You just have to go by the shape. Alright. I'll put this here. Alright, there we go. So, I think this is looking pretty good. Gotta get my little scraps out of the way. Alright, let me get my iron. And see, the iron just gives me a chance to put everything down, make sure that I'm happy with it. And don't worry, you'll see little lines of glue when the glue is still wet. When it dries, you won't see that. Alright, so now I've got this pretty bit in. Then I need to come in with another light. And see, by having this dark behind here, then when I add the light over it, I'll let it show through. That I like very much. Okay, this piece I think I'm gonna trim off. Alright, so on this piece, it's gonna start about right here. And it kind of comes up and kind of wiggle waggles. And then down and over. Alright, now I need to make an uneven bottom line. And I don't really look at the picture unless the bottom line looks really dramatic. I don't worry about it. Okay. Alright. Since this all is basically straight, I don't worry about making it perfect. Sometimes my cuts get a little jagged, so I'll go back and finish this up. And let me tell you, this time I knew I'd be trying to do longer pieces, so I'm using these. I love snips that have the spring, or scissors. These are Fiskars, whoops, that have the spring. And it's so nice because I don't have to hold them onto my hand, and all I do is push and they open back up. And when you're sitting here doing lots of snipping, this is really, really important. Okay, so let me see how I did this. Okay, it comes like this. I'm looking, it's pretty good, except it needs something darker there. So I'm going to take some of this dark and put, and this is very unique shaped. So I'll come in like this and then go up. And then come here. Alright. And then go down. Alright, so now what I need to do is run this. I'm going to pull up part of this medium. I don't need that part there. But don't cut away too much, because then otherwise you'd end up with an open spot and you'll have to cut something else for that. Alright. Is this the piece I just cut? I think it is. Let me see. Then I lay this back over to make sure I've got this correct. Okay. All right. Here we go. I kind of cut this open because I saw that. Let's see how it works. If I don't like it, I'll take it out. I think I'm going to like it. Then I come back with this one. And yeah, come back with this. And let some of this show. Yes, now I'm getting it. Okay, so I do need another little piece of dark right here. I'm going to get something bigger than that. Yeah, and it's not overly dark, so maybe I better use something a little medium. I have to constantly resist my habit of not using a wide enough range of colors. So that's something I have to work on all the time, because I want to go the full range. So okay, I think this will do. And then this will go in here. Okay. So I'll put this right here. Very good. Alright, take a little bit of this off. Alright, now I'll put glue on the back of it. And here we go. Alright. Now I'll put this here. Alright, so now I've got, starting in this area, I do like this color very much. Let me get all my little itty bits out of the way. Keep that trash can handy. Makes it so much. You know what I've learned in life? If you make things easy, you're more likely to do it. So keep trash cans handy, right there at your fingertips. Keep the fabric right here where you're working. Just make life easy for yourself, you know? You're more likely to do it and enjoy it if it's convenient and easy. Now, if I'm going to work on this landscape again tomorrow, I'll leave all of this sitting out. But if I'm going to work on a traditional quilt tomorrow, then I will clean this up now. Why? Because it's easier while I'm in the mood and in the motion to go ahead and clean this up, and it makes it easier tomorrow morning when I come down in the room. If I've got a mess to clean up, I'm less likely to come down and get busy. And you know, sometimes our best work happens in little snippets of time. So, alright, let me let you see it again, because we're covering quite a bit of area. What do you think? Are we getting there? Alright. I think I'll do just a little bit more, and then I'll take a break, get this one edited, get it out there for you, and I will work on this again tomorrow or the next day, and this is going to be great. Now, one of the things I had, and let me go back to this, is I had a bunch of squares. These came in a box I bought. I think I paid a couple dollars for a box of landscape fabric. Be on the lookout for these kind of deals, because you just would never know what might be in that. Oh, look at this. This has got the work done for me. Ooh, I like this. Wow, this is pretty cool. So I'll figure out if there's an area I can use it. And here's another piece. Look at that. That's pretty neat. All right, now, and some quilts I would like to use shortcut fabric, but usually if I'm doing it more organic, if I'm really getting in there and cutting the exact colors or as close as I can reach, then I might not want to use this. To me, when you use too much of this in a quilt, it's not a bad thing, but it's more like paint with number. And right here, I'm doing a painting that's not a paint with number. But there are some of these little fabrics that might be really nice to use. Let's try this one. Okay, now I think what I would do with this is stick it under here. Yeah, I like that. But anyway, look at these blocks. Now, some are just regular skies. I don't know, maybe somebody was doing a watercolor quilt. You know how they used to do the watercolors on a grid and then you sew the grid? But I noticed these, I mean, beautiful sky striations, so I really should use these. But let me get to the ones that are very exciting. Here we go. Look at this. And that's just what I'm wanting up here. And you know, I can, since this is a collage quilt, it's the perfect quilt to use these for. I wouldn't want to do this if I wasn't doing a collage quilt because it would look too jumbled up. Let me see. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm looking for the ones that have the yellow in them. I think that's very exciting. But I'm not sure who cut these up at what point, when, but I'm sure grateful. That's why if there's a box of scraps you have that you just aren't going to use, find somebody, give them to them, sell them to them cheaply. It's wonderful. And you just will never know what kind of treasure you have just given them. All right. Yeah, these are wonderful. I think I'm going to use these here. And yes, they're square, so I'll either cut them in shapes or I will... makes me wonder, should I put this right here? Okay, let me see if this will look good under here. So sometimes I cut another little piece of fabric out of the way so I can get just the look I want with this. So, see here? Now, I probably should turn this over and put the lighter color towards that orange area. Let's see. And now I'm going to want to bring this up. All right. Oh, I like that. I like that. Okay, try ironing that down. So even though it's a square, by cutting wavy lines, and now this would go really good under here as a bridge between the dark. And so, okay. So now I'll lift this, put this here. Okay. So now I'm looking at some of this right here. I think I can just, okay. All right. Sometimes if you you have to cut a little snippet of fabric away to make it look lay smooth, and that's okay. That's a-okay. All right, since this is so bright, this would be really good in this area. So I think I'll tuck it under here and under here. Okay. And I think I'm going to bring this on back. I like this. All right. I think I need to curve this edge just a little bit. It didn't look right being so square. Okay. So now, I like this very much. Alright. Let's iron this back down. Good. And that gives some light and dark. And aha, this worked better because I put it upside down and I like the way it looks much better. Okay. Okay. Alright, now let's see how I can get this one in. Oh, I like it. I hope it's looking good to you. I'm getting very excited. And it's kind of nice. Sometimes it's nice to have the fabric work for you. I'll do it. Watch your threads. You just don't want these threads to poke out at the worst times. Alright, let's see. I've got these. Oh, this is a good one. I think I might, yes, I might put this right over top that orange. Because this doesn't have a lot of color on its own. But I think that way, yeah, kind of tucked a little bit of that orange away. And this is where then you can take little bits of the edges of some of those squares and since this is all marbly looking, go ahead and pop this through. Oh, I like it. I like it. Okay, and I do notice that right here is a very bright bit of sun ray coming through. So I'm going to quickly, before I get to going too far, I'm going to put this. Kind of just cutting it like what I see on the original photo, which is not perfect, but it's now my collage. Okay, I'm going to take this, put it right under here. Okay, I like it. All right. Now the sunset is actually over here, but it's funny how that you get that reflection. The sun's here, but it's shining. The rays are coming up and hitting the clouds here. So if it weren't for the clouds, we wouldn't have this. All right, I can put this here. Put this over it. And then let's give this a little bit of a trim to soften the edge. Okay. It's fun using these little pieces. What a little treasure I found. Alright. So now we've got this, and I think this would be really good down here. Or should I? Ooh, I might want to put it up here. So, okay. I have a few more of those. All right. Okay. think I'm going to take this one off and put this here because it's got a little of the orange. So I think I should have it a little closer. Alright, I got to be careful so I don't cut it all off, but I do want to make a little natural edge. I am not trimming all the edges natural right now because some of them I think I'll use thread painting and kind of blend them in. But I kind of like the choppy look right there. So these are pretty nice. And it looks like I have 3 left that have this pretty strong graphic. This looks good right there. I'm just going to put some drops of glue across the middle because I think I'm going to tuck some fabric under it. And then, let's see. Move another one. You never know until you look at them where you want to place what, but that's part of the fun of landscape quilting. I'm kind of overlapping these so that hopefully the edges won't be a problem. I might have to soften them with some other fabric. Kind of breaking the rules by changing it, but I'm just kind of going right now. I'm just enjoying what it's looking like. Okay, I think I've just about got it for today. I'm going to take a piece of a lighter color and I like the idea of having the brightest white against something not dark, but not also light, because I think it helps, you know, make it pop a little more. Let me put this under here. All right. Let me get off my little bits. Boy, they add up fast. You don't realize how quickly you're cutting up fabric. All right. Well, I think I'm going to stop here today. I think this is a very good start, and I think I will try to work on this a couple times this week. So, but I need some time now to look at it and see what it's going to tell me. That's where I'll use my design wall, and I'll hang it up there and see what it's telling me. Because if I just keep doing it this way, I'm liable to be very disappointed. Thank you for joining me today so we can continue working on this beach landscape. And I'm going to keep these coming very regularly. I'll aim for 1 or 2 a week. And we're also going to be going back and doing some more thread painting on the landscape with the sheep. And I've got a mountain landscape that I would like to start with you. And I figured that way we're covering a lot of different areas. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.